What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Bear Show. I'm Ivan Vargas. Look, I got a little pop-up show here for you guys today. It's just a little quick, quick show for you guys just to, get a mock draft out there, talk a little Bears. It's kind of a dead time, right now. Of course, we got the draft mob, going strong. So, but, make sure you guys check that out. But I just felt like I needed to get on here and talk some Bears with you guys. They had the top 30 visits just happened. So I'm excited, but we're just not there yet. We're just not there yet. April 25th can't come here soon enough. So I know you guys are itching for it. I'm itching for it. So, what better time to come on here and do a show? Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you become a patron at www.thetapeneverlies.com. So what's up, guys? How you doing? Creighton, what's up? Mike, how are you? Cuthbert, it is showtime. What's going on, guys? Eric Thomas, nice to see you, sir. So, top 30 visits just happened. I'm pretty much dead set, and everybody here on the Tape Never Lies, and pretty much in the mainstream media, well, majority of the mainstream media are dead set on Caleb Williams being the guy at 1, right? So then begs the question, what happens at 9, right? I have a poll up right now. Coach Dre, what's up? How you doing, brother? I have a poll up right now. Are the Bears staying at 9, or are they going to trade down? Please go ahead and check that out on YouTube. But that's the biggest question for me right now. What is the idea at 9? You had Dallas Turner come in for a top 30 visit. Apparently he had dinner with the Bears and Caleb Williams when he was here as well. I think they visited at the same time or something like that. But you're looking for the Bears to either get a blue chip player or trade down and accumulate possibly, more draft picks, possibly, get 2 guys that can contribute to the Bears right now, as opposed to, staying at 9 and grabbing 1. Like I said, I'm in the camp of let's trade down. Let's go ahead and maximize the amount of, depth and draft capital that, we can accumulate to help this team grow. But there is that, point that a lot of you guys have made, that you want the blue chip guy. You want the guy that's, the stud at his position, the top guy at his position, or one of the top guys at their position. I understand that, and I wouldn't be heartbroken by any means if the Chicago Bears stood put and took a guy like Dallas Turner, took a guy like Roma Dunze. I just can't see myself being upset at Ryan Poles for doing that, because it is going to make the team better. But at the same time, I'm looking at this team and I'm like, okay, we can contend for a playoff spot next year, but I still see it as incomplete. We're going to address the quarterback position. Obviously, we address another playmaker spot. They actually addressed multiple playmaking spots. A running back, they added Everett. They added Keenan Allen. But on defense and still on offense as well, I would still like to see more depth brought in order for me to really consider the Chicago Bears team as Super Bowl contenders, as a team that is a force to be reckoned with. I think the Bears are going to challenge a lot of teams this year. Whether they learned how to finish or not, that's going to be, on the coaches. I'm looking forward to the Chicago Bears team being in the hunt, but they're still going to need help at, down the stretch. Guys get injured, players underperform. Things happen like this in the NFL. So for me, I would love for them to trade down. But if that's not the case, and Ryan Poles says, hey, Joe Alt is here, or hey, Neighbors fell, or whoever it may be, Dallas Turner, I'm not going to sit here and, shit on the Chicago Bears. I'm still going to be excited for what the season has to bring. And I'm just going to be very positive about it, because it's not necessarily a negative thing, right? to trade down. You're trying to maximize your team's potential. You're trying to, like I said, gain depth. You're trying to, allow yourself to have multiple shots at it. So I love the idea of going down, trading the pick at 9, moving to the uh, middle teens. I mentioned before. I know when I did that pop up show with DDP, I traded, what was it, to the Raiders at 13. Perfect. Like that was a perfect landing spot. We took Verse, we added McConkey, we added, I believe we added another pass rusher and if I'm not mistaken, offensive lineman. We added a good amount of depth, youthful depth coming into the Bears. I felt comfortable with how we drafted. Phil felt comfortable with how we drafted, and that's kind of the idea that I have coming into this draft. Trade down, maximize the amount of draft picks that you had, and I know we're going to have a lot of draft picks come next season, but I the guy needs to be, home run out of the ballpark for me to be, all right, we're taking him at 9. Is that Jared Verse? I don't think Jared Verse, even though I think he's my favorite DN, he's my top DN. I think Jared Verse still is a guy that is just outside the top 10. When you were talking about the situations with teams needing to trade up to get a quarterback, when we're talking about, play guys that are going to fall because of that situation, things, shit happens. So like for me, I feel like the Bears should address that opposite DN spot with a guy like Jared Verse, and also adding another playmaker down the stretch. In the second round, if you could go ahead and find a suitor that wants to trade up to 9 and give you a slot first, and then give you a second rounder and potentially another pick if it's that kind of a situation, if they're that desperate to get the player that they want, that can happen too. So I'm very excited regardless. If they, like I said, if they stay there, take Neighbors, they stay there, take MHJ, so be it. So be it. Not the route I would have went, but hey, how can you be upset at the Chicago Bears getting better by adding top talent? I can't be that upset. I can't be upset at all, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and let me pull up this draft simulator for you guys. There it is. Well, let me share it. It would help to share the screen, wouldn't it, guys? There we go. Share screen. Bring it up. So here is our first draft of the day. We'll do 7 rounds. Enter. Start draft. Now, like I said before, we could entertain this trade the first pick thought, but it's to me, it's not realistic at this point. You have Caleb coming in top 30, not really having another top 30 visit on his schedule. The Chicago Bears not going and sticking around. Well, I guess leaving some people behind, or to go ahead and see the LSU Pro Day. Not going to see Drake May at all. The writing's on the wall, in my opinion. It's Caleb Williams. We can argue this if you want. Or you could, if you have the argument in you, you could go argue, but you'll just be talking to the wall, because to me, it's Caleb Williams, no matter what, all the way, 100%. They've made their decision. And, I truly believe that Ryan Poles assessed Caleb Williams in the best way possible. And that's just like being just be personal. You see how Ryan Poles is? Ryan Poles is kind of a personable guy. He's a quiet dude, but he's personable. He's I remember when Alex Acevedo, stopped him. Usually, I would imagine some GMs kind of rushing by, getting back to, but Ryan Poles made sure he stopped, said hello, took a couple photos. Was a really good guy, but I personally think that that first dinner, that first meeting after the pro day, that sit down where they're alone, I think that was this, that solidified it. You finally got to meet the man. You finally got to understand, how he works a little bit, see how he acts, in a social setting, see his responses to certain things. That's when Caleb Williams won him. Now they could look. I'm sure they checked out all the tape that they've needed, everything that they needed to check out. They checked out, but it's really not, in my opinion, solidified until you get an idea of what's going on in the mind. Just a slight understanding of who this person is and how they work, how they interact with you, how they interact with others. That's what I think it was. It was a done deal for Ryan Poles. So we got Caleb Williams at 9. Excuse me, Caleb Williams at 1. We have 9. We have the 9th pick coming up. Jaden Daniels went 2nd. I'll bring up the screen for you guys if you just want to see it. Jaden Daniels went 2nd. Drake May 3rd. Marvin Harrison Jr. 4th. Roma Dunze went 5th. JJ McCarthy to the Giants at 6. Joe Alt at 7 to the Titans. Dallas Turner at 8 to the Atlanta Falcons. And here we sit, Malik Neighbors at 4. At 9. He's ranked 4 here. This would be, honestly, we'll do multiple. Like I said, we're going to have multiple drafts today. This would be something that I believe is realistic, something that the Chicago Bears would do if Malik Neighbors fell down there. I feel like Malik Neighbors, there's Marvin Harrison Jr. and how good he is, but watching, and cutting Malik Neighbors tape, it's just, I don't want to say he's better. It's hard to really, for me to distinguish one overall. I feel like it's just 1 and 1. One A and 1A. That's how I see it. So we go ahead and we select Malik Neighbors in this draft, right? 9th overall. I hope everybody's happy there. That's Poles guy. I mean, I don't know how. I didn't see how much or if Poles spoke on Malik Neighbors, but if you say so, Irish Rastafari. And if you only go back a few spots, what is a realistic return? Would say the Raiders really give up a 2nd rounder to move up 4 spots, a 3rd rounder. I mean, like I said, if you're that desperate on a guy, right? If you see a guy like a Joe Alt, like a Malik Neighbors as a guy that could change things for your franchise, then I would say possibly you could possibly get a 1st and a 2nd. Now, are you looking for multiple, like something after that? Like I said, a 3rd is kind of like if you're desperate, you could go ahead and get a 3rd round, and it might not even be this year. It might be even a 4th rounder, a 3rd or 4th rounder next year that I would imagine you could probably swindle. This is just hypothetical situations, Irish. We've been going through multiple drafts and scenarios, but for me, like I said, if you're able to trade down and you're able to gain more draft picks, and especially one in the 2nd round, so you don't, go an entire round without adding to your team, this is the way I would want to go. I would look to not move down that far, or you trade down twice. And now a trade down twice, I don't think is realistic. In my opinion, I don't think that's what they want. I mean, it's not that it's not realistic. It's just not what it's not what Ryan Poles, I believe, is going to do. I think they trade down once. They still get a premier talent, towards the top of the draft, and then they add, another draft pick or 2 in the later rounds to add more depth to this football team. I like Malik Neighbors. I like, you know what I'm saying? I like Joe Alt. Dallas Turner is a great player. He's going to have a successful career, I feel like, in the NFL. Just not my number one D end right now. But a trade down, it's just something that's on the table though, at least once. How far they go is going to be up to them. I still think that they stay towards the top half of the draft, or at least try to. Let's see who else we got. Eric Thomas. We could use draft capital from 2025. We have quite a few picks. Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like there's still help on the horizon. There's still a lot of good things coming for the Chicago Bears, right? For me right now, I'm looking at this draft right here, right now, and I'm looking at how the Bears are going to make a push for the playoffs, try potentially win a game in the playoffs, and I still think that they need to add some more depth. So as much as I would say, oh my God, Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., uh, you name it, you name it. I'm still thinking of the team, right, and saying, hey, I could solve an issue here. Well, it's not really an issue. It's just we don't have a guy opposite right now in getting a defensive end. And then I could go later on and find another guy, another playmaking wide receiver, if that's the route you want to go. And I think that's the route I would go in the second round or the third round. You can do that. You can still do that, but you can't do that by staying at 9. You can add one very, very, very talented player, but are you or is that a want or a need? You added 2 playmakers, in consecutive years. You had DJ Moore, you have Keenan Allen now. There's only so many uh, passes in a game. There's only one ball out there. So although I'm not a negative on Malik Neighbors or any of these wide receivers. I just think that the Chicago Bears would be better off going out there, solidifying their defensive end situation, and then deciding on which playmaker to add later on in the draft. So let's move on. Let me bring this up a little bit more. So we move all the way down to 75 now. We have some talent here. Jaden Hicks, Braylon Trice, Devondre Sweat, Blake Corum, Javon Baker, Blake Fisher, Johnny Wilson, Gabriel Murphy, Jabari Thrash, Bucky Irving, Mikhail Corley. You got Van Pran. We watched Van Pran. We had Van Pran on the patron side last night. A lot of people impressed with Van Pran. I was impressed with Van Pran. Guy moves. He's very involved. That whole offensive line, like Phil and coaches were saying, and Shane yesterday, that whole offensive line just was in sync. Like they work well together, and they're led by this guy right here, Cedric Van Pran. So, that's just maybe not at 75. Maybe they, like I said, maybe they go ahead and they risk adding, or they risk trading down and adding more depth or more draft capital, And that way they could go ahead and add a guy like Van Pran, Brendan Rice. But I think that the Chicago Bears would still try to be a team that wants to uh, add up front as well on offense. So let's go ahead and make a decision here. I think I'm going to go ahead and fix that line up, or excuse me, add some depth to that line. Blake Fisher, there's another tackle there. It's good. I'll go ahead and take our guy Van Pran because I think he's better than what these ranks are. You can add, um, you add a young guy who can obviously learn behind Bates. I would also look at Blake Fisher as well to add more offensive line depth. But right here, since we talked about him, since we all saw him, I like him. To be honest with you, better than I thought initially. Better than I thought initially, like by a lot. So Cedric Van Pran, we'll go ahead and take him at 75. Next pick, 122. There's a guy right here, Cam Hart, that'll help on defense. You know I want you know who I want. You know who I want. Audric Estime. Audric Estime is like a dream for me if the Bears go ahead and get him. And I know we're limited on draft picks. We just added a running back. We have 3, under contract. But man, would he be some bulldozer for us? But I'll go with Cam Hart. We added 3 offensive players. You add another cornerback to that secondary, another quality cornerback to that secondary. A secondary that's blossoming. Gave me a D for Van Pran. I don't really give a shit. Like I said, I believe that guy can be a quality center, a high quality center in the NFL. And then Cam Hart, you see the 2, you got Williams, Neighbors, Van Pran, and Cam Hart there at 122. I'm happy with it. If that's how they were, there was a trade offer, Brandon, but I'm just gonna go. I'll do trade offers at multiple spots in these next drafts that I'm about to do right now. I just wanted to get through one straight, just kind of see how the board fell. But let's go ahead and get to another one. Sorry if I'm not getting to some of these comments. I'm trying to do multiple things here. I need a producer up in this piece. All right, here we go. Let's new mock. Bears, 7 rounds. Enter draft. Well, like I said, Caleb Williams, I'm not entertaining trades. Caleb Williams goes number 1 to us. Drake May. Number 2, Jaden Daniels. 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. 4, 5 is Roma Dunze. 6, JJ McCarthy. 7, Joe Alt. 8 is Jared Verse. And 9, we're sitting here with Neighbors. You're sitting here with Dallas Turner. You got Fuaga, Liatu. Jazon Newton, Brock Bowers. Let's see who's offering up trades. You have the Vikings, not really interested. Steelers looking to trade up. Cowboys at 24, the Packers at 25, the Cardinals at 27, and then the Giants are trying to trade their 2nd round pick, but I'm not interested in that. So let's see. I don't want to fall further than the middle of the middle teens. So right here would be my ideal spot in order to get the guys that I want. Now that Jared Verse is gone, I would look to Dallas Turner as being the guy, obviously. Uh, but let's go ahead and see what Pittsburgh has. 20, 51, 84. You could probably ask for a shit ton more from Pittsburgh, moving up. What is it? 11 spots. So Pittsburgh at 20. Let's check out New Orleans. New Orleans with the 14th pick, the 45th pick, and I'll ask for a fourth next year. How's that to make it even? I don't think it's really even, but just to sweeten the deal, get a fourth next year, add even more picks to an already stacked draft that's coming up next season. Check out Irish. Irish? What do you got? Is passing on, say, Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors or top defensive player on your board worth getting another pick like a mid-third rounder? Well, like I said, it depends on how far I go. Like Sean is saying right here, no lower than 14. I don't want to go past 15 because then I would be risking missing out on one of the top blue chip guys like a Latu, like a Turner, like a Verse. Because think about it, these teams, looking at the Jets, looking at Minnesota, I think the Jets will definitely target a offensive lineman. The Vikings are the team that I have a question with about whether they are going to go and go offense or go defense. I feel like they can be a team that wants to add an edge like a Dallas Turner with a guy like Hunter being gone. Who knows? This is also a team that could add a Brock Bowers. So, the Vikings kind of, I feel like, are one of those teams that scare me when moving down. The Broncos, same way, but I think the Broncos are going to attack the offensive side of the ball. That's just my thoughts. So we'll go with New Orleans. Let's see if they are accepting of this. They decline it. So let's say that's offered again. Let's just see if they accept. All right, they accept this time. I've had to nudge them over, nudge them forward a little bit. So we traded 9 for 14, 45, and a fourth rounder next season. Creighton saying I'm fired. So you're sitting here at 14. Now they're on the clock. Let's go ahead and resume draft. Dallas Turner off the board. Malik Neighbors. Quinion Mitchell. Brock Bowers. Fuaga. Now we're sitting here with Latu. Fatanu. Fashanu. and Byron Murphy. I'm looking at Latu. If I'm here and Dallas Turner's off the board, Versus off the board, give me Latu. We got pick 45. We have 2 trades at 45. Obviously, the Bengals would probably be the only realistic one. I'm not moving down to 77. Let's see. I take Olu. Oh, Sean here. I take Olu, sign a free agent, DN again. We'll see. There are some free agents out there still that the Bears could be interested in. Do you trade back with the Bengals and potentially add Another pick, which I don't know. I don't see happening. I think the Bears stay put and draft a player. I like Roman Wilson. So we've added on both sides of the ball by trading back. You get a Roman Wilson. You get a guy like Liatu Latu. Damn, Savondre Sweat went a little higher than I wanted him to go because I want him to go right to us. But you still could add Blake Fisher. You got Dolores. That's right, Dan. And you're absolutely right. The Vikings still can move up. They take a quarterback, take a guy like McCarthy, which was rumored to be. Take a guy. Actually, I mean, it all depends on what Washington and what New England want to do. I don't know. Maybe potentially New England trades back for more draft capital as they're rebuilding. I could see that as a big possibility. They need to add a lot more than just one guy. So if we're here now at 75, Brandon Dolores on the inside, you got Devontae Walker, Blake Fisher. And to be honest with you, I'd probably add more depth now that we added defensive line, we've added playmaker, we added a quarterback. Talked about that depth. Let's go add a guy like Blake Fisher at a tackle spot at 75. So now we've drafted Williams, Latu, Roman Wilson, and our guy Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. Go Irish. Last pick for us here in this draft, 122. Got a guy like Leonard Taylor. You can address the interior of the defense. Like Washington, Cooper Beebe. I don't think they're going to go after a running back. So let's go ahead and add to that interior of the defense with Leonard Taylor III at 122 for the fourth round, our final pick of this draft. Well, Shane got lucky, Irish, because I make the rules here. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Shane likes Taylor. If Taylor's there, obviously I would go ahead and pull the trigger on him as well. But we'll see how the the draft falls. So, all right, let me scroll down, show you the draft that we just had. Caleb Williams won, obviously. We traded 14, or I traded. Some of you guys thought it was a bad idea. 14 for, or excuse me, we traded 9 for 14, 45, and a fourth rounder next season. Picked up Liatu Latu. We added Roman Wilson. We added Blake Fisher. And our final pick, we added Leonard Taylor III. So I feel good about that draft. I don't know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments. Also, check out the poll we got up. Do the Bears stay at 9? Or do they trade down? Bears. So let me go ahead and wipe this one. Let's get rid of this draft. Felt good. Check it out one last time. Williams traded the pick. Liatu Latu, Roman Wilson, Blake Fisher, Leonard Taylor III. All right, let's keep moving. I like this. I like this pace we're going at. Some needs and future. That's right, and it's not to say I'm, you know, not taking into consideration we have a lot of draft picks next year. It's we can add guys, and there are guys that can make an impact in this draft for us now, especially the way that we're building this. Or excuse me, Ryan Poles is building this. For me, you know, I guess it's more or less how the board falls rather than how Ryan Poles or excuse me, how uh, other GMs dictate. It's just hard to see exactly what's going to happen because there's so many scenarios, right? So it's hard to see what other GMs are going to do, how they're going to dictate the draft, before we get down to 9. Because, like I said, I'm not entertaining trades at 1 anymore. I don't want to hear I don't want no rumors. I don't want, you know, I don't. I'm not going to entertain it. Like it's not reality in my eyes. It's going to be Caleb Williams. He's going to be the number 1 draft pick to the Chicago Bears. And when it comes down to 9, I'm very, very, I'm very, very curious and I'm very, very cautious of how the Bears approach it. Because yes, we could go after, a guy, a big time playmaker, or we can add 2 guys that make an impact on the team. One guy's going to make. I know. I can guarantee you, Malik Neighbors can make an impact. But if you're lacking on one end of the ball, that could be a detriment to you. I would like for this team to be a complete team and not just heavy on one side, if that makes sense to you guys. I like this draft, even though you stuck your neck out for a lot too. Yeah. I see what you did there, X-Man. I see what you did there. That was good. So let's move on. Let's get another draft in here. So we'll start it. Like I said before, that's the guy. Caleb Williams 1, Jaden Daniels 2, Drake May, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, JJ McCarthy at 6, Joe Alt. This simulator has been kind of consistent here. I feel like we've had this one, maybe a tweak here or there a couple times. Joe Alt at 7, Dallas Turner at 8, leaves us here. Still have Marvin Harrison Jr. Let's check out. We have 16 trade offers. 16 trade offers. Got the Broncos at 12, Colts at 15, Seahawks, Jaguars, Bengals, Dolphins, pretty much everybody down the line. The Chiefs, yeah, pretty much half the league wants to trade up for 9. So now that you have half the league calling you, well, it's finessing time, isn't it? So this is where I say a third pick is definitely on the board, depending on how desperate a team is. So let's say the Indianapolis Colts, right? Yeah, 15, 46. I would say that asking for their third might be a little unrealistic. I still want to ask for a third next season. The 4 seems to be the deal here, but I'm going to try and there we go. We'll see if they want to let go of 117. Maybe that fourth turns into a fifth. Depending on how desperate. Now, picking out the desperate team, and this is interesting. So, like I said, we have Broncos, Raiders, Colts, Seahawks, Jaguars, Bengals. The Bengals are going to be losing somebody. Maybe they want to add at wide receiver. You got the Dolphins, Eagles, the Bucks, the Ravens. I would say the most desperate team is possibly between the Jaguars and the Bengals in my eyes, as in teams that I would think would be willing enough to give up draft capital to trade with. I think that Baltimore is the probably the most desperate team to add a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. But looking at this, I would trade with Denver, but I don't like just two spots. I think I get though. Obviously, I get the pick swap, Brandon, but I don't think I'm going to be able to wiggle down, or to shake them down for a second pick. Wiggle down. I mean, a second round pick. Excuse me. They'll get a second pick, but that's probably going to be it. Indianapolis is going to be. They got Michael Pittman Jr. signed up. They have, Anthony Richardson coming back, hopefully healthy this season. So that's a team that I really feel like could be willing to move on from a few picks here and move up to 9 to grab a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. So 41% chance. I won't force it this time. So we get that rejected. CS for 5. Nope. Don't want to give you that pick. So let's see if they want this. 51% chance. 1546, 117 for number 9. And that's good to go. So the Colts are picking. They're on the clock at 9. Let's go ahead and resume the draft. See how it falls. Quinyon Mitchell in a surprise move. I thought they would go ahead and go after Marvin Harrison Jr., but that doesn't happen. Marvin Harrison Jr. falls all the way to 12 and goes to the Denver Broncos. And look at what we have here. My guy, Jared Verse. There's Latu, and again, I said it to Shane, I said it to Phil, I sent him a text message when I was cutting up the Latu tape. He's probably the best DN out of all three. But like Shane has been saying, those medicals really scare people off. Are really going to scare people off. So I still think that Jared Verse is the top guy. But if it wasn't for the medicals, I think Latu really, is just better than Jared Verse. He's got the power of Verse, and he's got the athleticism of of Turner. Not exactly the same, but he can do what both guys can do, and that's something that I really like about Liatu Latu. But I'm gonna go with my guy Jared Verse here at 15. Yeah, Creighton. It is a little weird. Like some of them, like I said, they had the first 10 or first 8 picks for about two of our drafts, pretty much the same, and then all of a sudden you got Marvin Harrison Jr. falling all the way to 12. So yes, Nathan, is unrealistic as it may be. I feel like sometimes you got to take a shot. I don't know if they're going to be trading 3 picks away in the same draft, but hey, I'm not the one that created the simulator. The percentage said 51. I'm going to go take a shot. So let's move forward. Let's see who's been taken. Oops. Where am I? Here we are. So we're 15. We took Verse. Barton is gone. Brian Thomas Jr., Fatanu, Bo Nix, Byron Murphy, Nate Wiggins, Taryn Arnold, Cooper DeJean, Chop Robinson, Adonai Mitchell, Amaris Mims, Tyler Guyton, Liatu Latu, Jazan Newton, Jordan Morgan, Xavier Worthy, Lad McConkey, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Jackson Powers Johnson, Darius Robinson, Peyton Willis, Ennis Rickeshaw, Patrick Paul, Max Milton, Kinsley Sumatiaya. If I screwed it up, sorry. Troy Franklin, Xavier Leggett, Chris Braswell, Roger Rosengarten, Roman Wilson. So in this draft, we still have at receiver Ricky Pearsall, Jermaine Burton, Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, Jalen McMillan, Devontae Walker, Javon Baker, Johnny Wilson. So we have our picks still. We still have playmakers at receiver that we can add. Let's check out defense. You got Braden Fisk. I know a lot of guys like Fisk. Appreciate you, Shannon. Safe travels. So, looking at it now, where would we want to go? We added defense, right? Do you want to add the running mate in Braden Fisk of running mate of Jared Verse, or do we want to attack offense? I would like there to be some type of balance, but if you're sold on a guy like a Fisk, maybe maybe they pull the trigger. Maybe they say, "Hey, we'll take him. We'll go ahead and we'll try to address receiver later." I don't think you could do that right here because I feel like once one of these receivers goes, you'll get another run. See Keon Coleman, 6'4", 215. It's a good size. Got Keon Coleman, Jalen Polk, 6'2", 240. Ricky Pearsall, 6'1", 192. You got the other Jalen McMillan, 6'1", 192. Devontae Walker, 6'2", 200. Me, I'm going to go with Keon Coleman. He's a bigger receiver, playmaker. We address wide receivers. So we'll take Keon Coleman, 46. We're here at 75. I mentioned before. I think somebody mentioned look to trade 75. We got 4 trade scenarios here. Center, we could address center at 75 as well. Like I mentioned before, I think that first draft I took Van Pran only because I took him there only because we had to stay put. I took Malik Neighbors at 9, so we only had 75 and 122 in this draft. We've added more, obviously. So let's take a look at these trade scenarios. So, how far are you willing to drop? 5 picks to the Bengals. What is this? Almost 21 picks to the Jaguars. I wouldn't want to move down this far. So you have the Bengals wanting to move up about 5 spots. So I'll offer that 80 and 115. Will leave me with that. Now, as far as who the centers are, still got Van Pran, 93. Got Bo Limmer. Got Drake Nugent. So there's some centers there. Let's see. I don't think I would want to. I wouldn't want to risk, especially if I'm sold on a center, right? If I know that I want that guy. So I'll go ahead and take a guy. We'll take Van Pran again. And we'll be picking at 117 now. $117. I'll take Cam Hart. And because I said so, Audric Estime. I like the idea of having Audric Estime involved. The question is with Khalil Herbert, whether he can be a guy that can, play all 3 downs. Can he be a guy that can pass block in passing situations? You can't really trust him to do that, right? Like we've seen his pass blocking. He's been hurt. There's still some questions around Khalil Herbert, like I mentioned before. I would love an Audric Estime. The short down struggles, the short down red zone struggles that we've had, I feel like would be no more. You would have you would finally have a Jerome Bettis, a bulldozer battering ram type of guy that when you need that yard, when you need that 2, when you need that 3, he ends up giving you 7, and carrying a guy on his back. He ends up giving you 10, or he ends up, breaking away for a good chunk. That's what I could see Audric Estime being if he was on the Chicago Bears. So there's this draft. We'll see. Let's see if I can get to some of these comments here. Oh, good. I erased my comment. I said, great to see a show on. My layover just got nice. Yeah, appreciate you, Shannon. Isn't Johnson supposed to be the power back? Yeah, I think Roshan's is a powerful runner. I don't know if you can compare the like. I guess you could call him their power back, but he could do multiple things. He can catch out of the backfield. I mean, he's not the fastest dude, but he could do multiple things. He could block. That's probably a major factor. I just feel like Audric, the way he runs, the way that I feel like the Bears can use him in like I said, in short down situations and even in passing situations as a blocker. He's big enough to withstand some of these defensive ends and some of these linebackers rushes. So for me, it would be awesome to have him. Do I think that the Bears will? Well, yeah, I know we got Swift. Uh, do it? Probably not. Probably not. But if they bring in a running back, you best believe somebody's on the hot seat. And I'd mentioned here before that I think it's going to be Khalil Herbert. Uh, it's just how I see it. The lack of ability uh, to pass block. He's been injured, so it's kind of a weird situation. I feel like they can go into the season with the three that they have, but if you see them add a running back in the later rounds, if they accumulate some more draft capital, you best believe, that running back can be on the board. One of those guys could be gone. If is it Roshan, is it Khalil Herbert? I don't know, but having a guy like Estime would be a dream for me. I mentioned before, Cam Hart is going to be or is a good corner. I hope that he fits well here. I believe he will fit well here if we ended up getting him. Cedric Van Pran will end up sitting behind Bates, learning from him, getting better. And then, like I mentioned at the top of the draft, we added Williams, Verse, and Keon Coleman. So overall, not bad. I think I would have definitely waited for the center, but kind of had a push for it here in the chat. So I'll go ahead and take who you guys want. If I'm being compelled to by a bunch of you. So uh, let's go ahead and move on. Here we are, Bears. Start sim. All right, here we go again. Daniels, May, Neighbors at 4, Adunze at 5, McCarthy at 6, Harrison Jr. at 7, Turner at 8. You have Joe Alt here at 5. Or excuse me, at 9. Ranked fifth overall in these rankings. There are a bunch of trades. I mentioned before, I wouldn't be mad if it was Joe Alt. And since Joe Alt is there, I'm going to be taking a player this time. Joe Alt. I mean, I feel like you can really upgrade your offensive line by adding this dude. And will it be instant? Possibly. I think he just needs time to obviously learn the offense, get in there, start cutting his teeth a little bit. But Joe Alt would be a huge, huge, huge pickup in my eyes for the Chicago Bears. So now that we've done that, let's check out the wide receivers. You got Devontae Walker, Jerron Baker, Johnny Wilson, Jamari Trash, Malachi Corley, Brendan Rice. Let's see who else we got. Corum, Blake Fisher, Cameron Kitchens, Trotter Jr. So we picked Van Pran last time. Added offense. I want to add a wide receiver here, but I'm not quite sure which one I want to entertain. Johnny Wilson, Devontae Walker, Javon Baker. Looking for a bigger body wide receiver. Johnny Wilson, 6'7", 237. So we'll see. I'll take a shot on this guy. 6'7". Go up and get it. What say you guys? I'm trying to look in the chat as well. See what you guys think. James says Walker. Mike saying Walker. Looks like we got a lot of Walkers here. So let's do that. We'll go Devontae Walker. So we add a playmaker. Or we add another wide receiver. And here we are at 122. Again, Leonard Taylor, Cooper Beebe. We drafted Muhammad Kamara. In that pop-up show with Phil. So I'm thinking, let's stick with the idea. Let's add Leonard Taylor III if he's available. That'll be our last pick of the draft. So here we are, 4 picks. Caleb Williams, Joe Alt, Devontae Walker, and Leonard Taylor III. It's something I could get behind. It's something I could get behind, to be honest with you. Like I said, I would not be upset with something like this. I just wouldn't. I just have a different idea of how the Bears can find success. And I'm sure Ryan Poles has a different idea than me. Trust me. But yeah, it's hard for me to think that anyone could be upset at the Bears taking a blue chip guy at 9, regardless of, what I'm telling you guys, what I believe. So there it is. Williams, Alt, Walker, Taylor III. Coming on 12 o'clock, right? Or it is 12 o'clock now. 12:06. Let's do a few more. And then I got to get ready to get out of here and go to the other job. Ugh. I'd much rather stay here and do mock drafts all day with you guys. I appreciate you. We got 1,000 people in here. I haven't had 1,000 people watching ever. So thank you, 1,000 folks for checking me out. Give you one more mock draft, or maybe a couple more. We'll see how I feel after this one. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna have a coughing fit. Excuse me. Ugh, I feel all stuffed up. All of a sudden, allergies might be acting up. Anyway, let's start this draft. Caleb Williams, number 1. Go Jaden Daniels, 2. May 3. Harrison Jr., 4. Neighbors, 5. JJ McCarthy, 6. Roma Dunze, 7. Brock Bowers, 8. And here we sit at 9. Again, Joe Alt is available. This time, let's entertain some trades. All right. That's a little too far from my blood. A little too far from my blood. So the Rams at 19. You have the Rams at 19. You have the Steelers at 20. Dolphins at 21. Cowboys at 24. Packers at 25. And that's the last of the first rounders. And then it's the Patriots, Titans, and the Browns all trying to trade second round picks. Yeah, again, I would take Joe Alt. I would take Joe Alt. So there's going to be no trade down here. Once again, Joe Alt at 9. Sit here at 75. We have 3 trades. Washington wants to trade the 78th pick to 75. Well, I don't want. So 78, and we get back. We swap 75 and 78, and we get back 139. Let's see who's there. Devondre Sweat. He's there. Blake Fisher. Let's check this out. Let's go ahead and make this trade. 75 for 78 and 139. So Washington took Baker, Spencer Rattler to the Broncos, Austin Booker to the Raiders. And here we are. I would love to have Devondre Sweat, to be honest with you, right here. We still have a chance to get another receiver. So far we have Caleb, we have Joe Alt, just traded 75 for 78 and 139. I'm going to go and take Devondre Sweat. Beast on the inside, and here we sit. Give me Cam Hart. And we sit here at 139. Take a Taj Washington. Though I would like a Luke McCaffrey. Get somebody familiar, somebody that knows Caleb here at 139, Taj Washington. So we're able to trade down. So Caleb Williams, 1. Joe Alt, At 9, we traded here 75 for 78 and 139. We took Devondre Sweat. 122, took Cam Hart. 139, we took Taj Washington. Some familiarity with the quarterback there. Sweat all day at this one. I'm glad you guys agree. Devondre Sweat, a mammoth of a man, like I said, can really clog up the running lane. So somebody who can be an impact on the defensive side of the ball. Let's do another one here. Hopefully they give us something different to work with. Hopefully this cough goes away. Jeez, kicking my ass right now. All right, let's go ahead and fight through this. Caleb Williams, number 1, followed by May, JJ McCarthy at 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4, Neighbors 5, Daniels at 6, Joe Alt at 7, Roma Dunze at 8. And here we sit at 9. We got 6 trade offers for 9, none of which are any teams I would want to trade with. Now, do I trade with Minnesota? If I trade with Minnesota, this is pretty much what they would want. They wouldn't accept this by any means. This is what I would want right here. So I would ask, obviously I would want to finesse the Vikings as badly as possible. Four, I don't think is real. But I think 3, it's just shitty the way that their picks are laid out. They have a few picks, like quite a few picks, but a lot of them are in the back end of the draft. And I really don't want to move that far down. So I'm going to say no to the trade with the Vikings. I'm going to take Dallas Turner this time, just to switch things up. So let's say since Dallas came in for the top 30 day, let's go ahead and say the Bears are targeting him and they want Dallas Turner, and they take Dallas Turner at 9. So now we're down to 75 again. Devondre Sweat sitting there. Johnny Wilson. Once again, I would say if I'm sitting here at 75, unless there's other thoughts, like I don't know. I think Devondre Sweat would make a big impact for the Bears. That would be my guy. You also have Van Pran. We took him at 75. I believe in our second draft today. Let's go ahead and take Sweat one more time, because if he's there, and usually he's not at 75, and a lot of these drafts I've been doing with you guys, usually he's not there. But again, if he's there, by all means, I'm going that route. So that means we have one more pick. I would like, again, to add somebody who's familiar with our guy Caleb Williams. You also have Luke McCaffrey down here. So if I'm gonna, let's see, who wants to trade? The Bengals? No, thank you. So I would take a Taj Washington here. I mentioned before, familiarity with the quarterback. Taj Washington. And let's see what we did. All right. So Caleb Williams, Dallas Turner, Tavondre Sweat, and Taj Washington. I would be happy with that. Tavondre Sweat, like I said, going to be a bit of a problem for some guys in the NFL with his size and his aggression. You get Caleb Williams, obviously the top guy overall. Dallas Turner, an athletic marvel who's probably going to get better as he grows. I like it, especially if it's, if that's how it plays out and we stay put. Okay. All right, one more here, and then I'm going to get out of here. I need to get some food. I need to get my mind ready to go back to work. Ugh. All right, let's enter the draft. Start draft. Caleb Williams, number 1, no doubt. Jaden Daniels, JJ McCarthy again at 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. 4, Adunze 5, Drake May 6, Malik Neighbors 7, Dallas Turner 8. We have 13 trade offers. Okay. I could work with something. I could work with this. We could work with something like this. 81. Nope. Okay, let's say it's the Raiders at 9, and they want 9. I would package this LA 5. I would actually package all of. I would package any other ones if I could get that second round pick. I'm going to try it out regardless. I don't think this is going to be pulled off, but I would love to have one other pick. Hmm. 77 will get traded for sure. So I'm looking for, maybe I need a little bit more of a desperate team. Maybe the Jaguars. See, the Jaguars at 17 likely to trade. And granted, it could work out differently, but since they're picking further down, it'll be a little easier to get this. I don't know if they want. I don't think they give up all 3 picks to move up to 9. I think that's crazy. I think that's unrealistic. So I want the 40. I want 48. Right? You're gonna get 17. I want 48. Now, what is a more real? Because I want 3. 114 seems to be more realistic to me because they would want to at least pick one player other than the 9th pick in one other player in the 9th other than the 9th pick in the top 100. So I could see that. I could also see them saying, hey, no, not our pick at 14, take 16. Any more than that, I don't feel like is real. Oh, maybe I'll ask for a 5th next year. Screw it. I'll ask for a 4th next year. Why not? All right, let's offer up. Done. Okay, Jaguars are there at 9. Resume the draft. Jags go alt, Bowers, Arnold, Verse goes, Mitchell goes, Latham goes, Olufasanu goes, Brian Thomas Jr. goes, and I'm sitting here with Liatu Latu. Well, let's say, does anybody want to go tackle here? Does anybody want to go tackle here? Like I said before, if we're trading down, I'm going defensive end and wide receiver. If I could get that 2nd round pick, I don't see anybody arguing against it. So Liatu Latu off the board. So we got receivers again. Roman Wilson, 6 foot, 192. You got Coleman. So what would our next move be? I feel like it's going to be playmaker regardless. I like Coleman's size, but I do like Roman Wilson's playmaking ability. So I'll sit here and I'll go Roman Wilson, 47. We're at 75, and my guy, Tavondre Sweat, taken 1 pick before us by those pesky Atlanta Falcons. Shoebird. Ugh, that sucks. That sucks in our fantasy world here. All right, so let's take a look. We got defensive interior. We still got Dolores. And you know what? I will take Dolores. Brandon Dolores. He's sitting there at 75. I'll pick him up. Here we are at 116. Running backs are in play. Offensive linemen still in play. Keegan, Beebe, Zinter. They're all still there. Let's check out. Well, we already solidified our ends. Let's check out running backs, I guess. So you got Lloyd, Estime, Allen. Marshawn Lloyd, 5'9", 210. Estime, 5'11", 227. Bit of a difference. Braylon Allen, 6'2", 245. So Audric Estime technically isn't the biggest back, but Braylon Allen is a physical freak. We'll say that. Let me see. Give me Estime here. Yeah, give me Audric. And then we could round this draft out with a guy like Cam Hart. All right, so there it is. Here's a look at it. Caleb Williams, number one. We traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Traded 9 for 17, 48, 116 in a fourth round next season. Liatu Latu was taken at 17 for us. 48, we got Roman Wilson. 75, we got Brandon Dolores. 116, Audric Estime. And then we got his Notre Dame teammate at 122, Cam Hart, cornerback. Another draft I'm happy with. I'm not, whether the compensation for the pick is realistic. Hey, I take shots, man. You shoot or shoot. All right, shoot or shoot. You can only do so much when you're not controlling the algorithm there. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this show, guys. It was fun. With the draft coming up, I know everybody's just ready to go, gearing up for it, wanting it to be here already. It's a lot of still got some dead time in the meantime. But the 25th, I took off work. I just put in PTO. I'm not going to miss out on that night's show for anything. So, from me to you, I appreciate you guys being here. I know it's going to be, a couple of more grueling weeks till we get up to it. Just embrace the grind, get through it. Once draft day is here, a lot of us are going to breathe a sigh of relief. A lot of us are going to, jump for joy. It's going to be an exciting time regardless for the Chicago Bears this season. I think the Bears, what they're doing, what they've been doing, what they've been preaching, I'm here for it. Now, whether it can come to fruition, that's still yet to be seen. But everything that they've done so far, and I'm talking about polls and everybody involved in the with the team as far as the football side is going, they're laying down the foundation for this to be a successful season and for this to become once again a perennial winner, a successful franchise again. And you could say it's successful because they make money. They're the charter franchise, yeah, but we're talking about wins. Successful in winning. Winning is the name of it. Business, you've made your money, man. It's time to win. It's time to win, and I'm looking forward to it. Guys, I appreciate you. Like I said, first time I clipped 1,000. We actually got about 1,200 people watching here at about 12:30 in the afternoon in Chicago. It's been an enjoyable morning with you guys. Had fun doing the mock draft. Appreciated your guys' input, your interaction. Hopefully you guys come back next time I have a show on another Bear Show. Before I get out of here, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Tape Never Lies Network. Make sure you become a patron today at www.thetapeneverlies.com. All right, guys, I'm Ivan Vargas. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It looks like it's sunny out there. I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it looks like it's a nice day outside. So enjoy the day. If you're not at work, if you are at work, well, good luck there too. I'm about to do the same thing. So anyway, guys, bear down. Peace.